Hello, Chantel. Hello, Jack. Hello, everyone. Welcome along to episode 266 of Australian Investigation Weekly News Spy Curious with Casey Pine and Mike Evans. And please say hello in the chat. Let us know where you're watching from. Most of you are going on a long weekend and busting to get out the door, so we won't hold you up today. Today on Spy Curious, we've got job vacancies. I do my review of the stage play Agatha Christie's Mousetrap, which Casey sent me along to on Sunday as part of a Mother's Day present. G'day, Amber. Great to see you. Great to see everyone. Thanks for checking in. So I do my interview of the whodunit murder there. And also I've got a lot of job vacancies and a little hint. Let's go. Lucky it's very close to you. You can walk to it. Happy Friday, everyone. Great to see you. Thanks for watching. So I'm going to get straight into it, and I've got to switch where I am so I can do my amazing Mike, the stage play theatre critic, review of Agatha Christie's The Mousetrap. Here we go. So someone's drinking break food. I don't know where that came from. We better get rid of that. So on Sunday afternoon, Casey brought her mother, my wife, tickets to Agatha Christie's The Stage Show, The Mousetrap. And I'm going to give a spoiler alert here because you have to promise at the end of The Mousetrap you won't tell anyone who did it, but I'm going to tell you who did it. And this Agatha Christie murder mystery stage play has been going for 70 years. And they're trying to claim that it's one of the longest serving stage plays, most enduring, that ever happened. Well, people, we're in Australia, and obviously the people that write the marketing materials have never been to Australia because for 40,000 years, actors and dancers have been performing over here in stuff. So, you know, we're way ahead of 70 years back with The Mousetrap. So that's my number one criticism so far. All the people that I noticed that were there, which kind of were quite sophisticated for a Gold Coast audience, they looked like all of them were school teachers. In fact, I was sitting next to a school teacher I used to teach with at TAFE. It was great to catch up. So The Mousetrap, this is what it looks like. So that's basically the set that the whole program's set on. And the theme of it is three blind mice. So there's some three blind mice. And you know what they did, don't you? The three blind mice were chasing after basically farmers' wives, and it all ended in disaster and that sort of thing. And that's a sort of occurring theme throughout the show. If I had one criticism, all the actors were thespians. So that was quite noticeable straight away. So if you don't like thespians, don't go and see The Mousetrap, but otherwise I quite enjoyed it. It's a murder mystery whodunit, so you really got to sort of hang on to find out who actually did it. And of course, as always, it's basically, for the spoiler of it, the butler did it. Okay, so there you go. I've just told you, you don't need to go now. All right, so save yourself $99. You know the butler did it, and that's it. So sorry to spoil the show for you people, but I quite enjoyed it. I really had a few laughs. The sound effects are absolutely fantastic. As a person who's hearing impaired, I heard every word and really quite enjoyed it. So that was my big news for this week as far as domestic activities went. SureFact are hiring investigators throughout Australia. So if you're looking for a factual investigation role with CTP liability, general insurance, workers' compensation, get in touch with SureFact. A senior investigator officer for $3,000 a week is wanted by Fire and Rescue New South Wales. So you're going to earn $150,000 a year as a senior investigator for them. That's not near the pub at Byron Bay, okay? It's probably in Sydney there somewhere, so bad luck if you're in Byron Bay. Corporate investigative services are after a licensed investigator for general insurance claims. General insurance claims are home burglaries, home arsons, stolen motor vehicles, public liability, slips, trips and falls in the home, and even depending on the quality and price of insurance, maybe away from the home as well. LKA are after loss adjusters down in Victoria. They have a loss adjusting arm in LKA. So that's a place that's offered a work role this week. Here we go.
Yeah. You should. It's one of those things that they're probably using it in romance scams. And if the person, say, gets scammed for $10,000 or what have you, and they find your profile picture and send you a message and give your details to the police saying you scammed me out of this money, and you're like, no, it wasn't me, just report it as much as you can to Facebook. Get your friends and family to report it and get it taken down, because while it can be obviously cleared up with like the police and what have you, it's made the news a couple of times where men have been accused and threatened from people who have been scammed in romance scams, but their identity has been stolen. So it's just something that if you come across this, get your friends and family just to constantly report this profile so it gets taken down.
Very good advice. So I guess that's answered the question. Down in Adelaide, oops, here we go. In beautiful Adelaide in South Australia, they're after auditors for ISTA, for vocational education and training throughout Australia, and they're offering $89,000, $90,000 down there as a remuneration for that role. God, oh dear.
Yeah, that's definitely a romance scam. Lots of armed forces. It's constantly, I get constant quick looks, and the quick looks are usually, I met this person online, here's their Facebook profile, can you tell me if they're like legitimate or not? And as soon as I see any kind of armed forces uniform, I'm just like, oh, here we go. So yeah, they target armed forces. Obviously there's some kind of romance and you must look really handsome in your uniform. So They steal those all the time.
There you go. Jack was a lady killer when he was in uniform. Good on you, Jack. Suncorp Metway, in Adelaide again, claims manager down there. So that's a role with one of the biggest insurers in Australia. Now, this is not a private investigator position. It's a claims manager within an insurance company, so you don't need a license. So it's a corporate investigator position. And you'll be handling claims for general insurance, CTP liability, that sort of thing. Don't doubt it for a minute, mate. So a senior manager for serious misconduct investigation in New South Wales Ambulance. That rolls down in New South Wales. So it's a pretty substantial job. All these are on our Facebook page, people. You'll be able to see them. I'll put them up there this week. Been a busy week in investigations vacancies. Here you go, a talent pool for adjudication officer for the New South Wales Police Force. So here you are going to be checking licence applications for the New South Wales Police, and you're going in a talent pool of people that have put their hand up to do it. And I recommend if you get an opportunity to go in one of those talent pools, do so, because you'll go in, you'll forget about it. One day they'll ring you up and offer you a job out of the blue. And you're not interested, but then they'll tell you how much money they're paying. And you can compare to that what you're earning now. And you might go and work for the best police force that money can buy in New South Wales. All right, so what a great thing to be able to do. Licensing checks. Maybe security licensing enforcement division might be involved. It could be on real estate licensing. I don't know. Might be car licensing. I have no idea. But that talent pool job is on our Facebook page. Don't forget to go and have a look at it. Claims advisor for liability at Suncorp. So they want to know if it's the insured entity, person or building or corporation or whatever who's insured is liable for the injury or damage caused to someone else as a result of the actions of that entity, person, individual, whatever. So that's a job available at Suncorp. It's in Sydney, that one, so that's available there. Going right down this, I couldn't believe this. Workers' compensation and safety people. This was one out of the hat. You only get one of these once in a lifetime. So down in Geelong, the cleaner decided, because the crane driver was off sick and the supervisor was off sick, the cleaner decided, I mean, how hard could it be, that he would jump up and lift the 30-tonne steel frame, which was working on the Spirit of Tasmania project.
Yeah, you have to be a citizen.
Yeah, I'd say you'd have to be a citizen, but you could check on that. The New South Wales is pretty hard on it. If it was Victoria, Queens might be a bit of flexibility, but I reckon New South Wales it'd be difficult. But you can go to the links on our Facebook page, or just cut and paste a bit of it and put it on Seek or something, and all the information will be there, so you just don't know. So anyway, this cleaner's decided he's going to go and drive the crane that looks like this. He's a cleaner, and he wants to drive this crane that's at the new dock for the Spirit of Tasmania. And of course, he tips it over and crashes it near 4 other workers. Didn't injure anyone, but went really close. $170,000 fine for that workplace this week. As a result of him being unsupervised, jumping up and going, I'll do this, no problem at all, fantastic. That's only, a 30-tonne frame and a crane, and we could all do it. Every one of us, no problem at all. The Spirit of Tasmania, and there's the car park where you line up in those lanes and in Geelong, and then you drive up that rampway and get on the boat. And there's 3 levels on the boat, and you can see all those lanes in the cars. You can see the size of the car on the road on the right. It looks like a little van, just sort of down the bottom on the right. So there are probably waiting to get on any ferry ride going over to Tassie from Geelong, probably, 800 to 1,000 vehicles of all sorts of shapes and sizes, trucks, caravans, trailers, all sorts of things. And it's really interesting. You get there and you've been waiting, till 2 o'clock before you can go on, and they call you through, and you sort of sit there and
Sorry.
So you're sitting there and you're waiting in your truck, and there's 100 vehicles in front of you and 800 vehicles behind you. And I was there doing that one day. I was going over to Tassie to go fishing with my wife and I, and the Indian security guard comes up to us because they've got to search your vehicle for drugs and vegetables and things you can't take, of course, just like on a plane. And he says to me, "You going to Tassie, mate?" And I looked. It's 100 cars in front of me. I couldn't reverse and go back out. And I thought, yes, mate, I am. That's a great question. I didn't have a choice. I was going, and that's what the car park looks like. So, another bit of Geelong there. Down at the in my local area this week, the big news was a stolen car was burnt out. Where was it? No, not there. Here. I don't know. I keep losing things.
You've got to label them. That's mine.
Yeah, I'm going to have to label them. But anyway, car was stolen and burnt out. And this is about 1,000 metres from where I live. And stolen in Brisbane. This is only last night. It was burnt out. Now, what people don't realise, if you need to destroy a car by burning it, don't use unleaded diesel or fuel you buy at the service station. Don't. It'll half destroy it. Yeah, it might just blacken it, but it won't destroy it. If you really need to cover up your stolen motor vehicle, your fingerprints and your DNA and everything like that, what you use, brake fluid. Use that. Pour that in your car, get a long way away, long way away, chuck a match in it, and it'll go. won't come back. The fire brigade won't be there in time to save it, and it will look like this. Does it work? A few years back, at the Sydney Opera House, a terrorist was caught wearing a backpack with 4 of these in the backpack. He knew and was instructed in exactly what to do. He was a 16-year-old with a mental disability, and he was acting suspiciously and mumbling, and security and the police arrested him and found brake fluid in his backpack. He was going to empty it out in a crowd at the Sydney Opera House and light it up. Terrorists teach the youth of this stuff for vulnerable people that they can influence. Now, fortunately, he was, stopped from it and it didn't go ahead. ISS tried to con him into doing it. He was brainwashed into doing it. So keep in mind, people, you accidentally put the keys in the wrong car because you were full of it and it started and you drove 50 kilometres and you didn't want to drive back. Chuck brake fluid in it, all right? Don't use unleaded. What do you got for us today, Casey? Any good tips like mine?
It's not going to beat that. Sorry for my dinging before. I have this antique clock that my grandmother gave me, and I've just moved house, and I've put it in the kitchen, and it's magically started working. And my son is going through a horror movie phase, and he is actually horrified that this old antique clock has magically started working. So it's added a little bit of interesting thoughts to hearing it at nighttime. That's for sure. Okay, my tip of the week is usernames. So if you've seen me do Investigations UNI, I harp on a lot about usernames, and usernames are always something which is a pivot point that we can use, that is a piece of information that we can leverage to find a person. So my favorite website to do a username search is What's My Name Web, and that's by OSINT Combine, who are the Australian company who I do a lot of I've done my open source intelligence certificates through. They're a fantastic company, and they've created this amazing tool, and you can search for usernames, because if someone uses it somewhere, it's likely that they've used it somewhere else. So if their email address is rainbowkitty27, then they've probably used it somewhere else. So I know that I tend to use case in point a lot, because my name's Casey and I always say I'm always right. Don't know, Mike. So it's a username that I use across a lot of different accounts. And when you get stuck and you can leverage a username, it's really, really handy. So other places that you can find usernames, obviously you've got your email address. A lot of people use usernames there. You've got your Instagram handles. You have what comes in the URL of someone's Facebook. So it's facebook.com/ and there's usually a username that you can set there. An X handle, a Threads handle, all of the different handles that you can use. And of course, when you're looking for information leakage, which crosses over the dark web and the surface web, it's usually usernames. So someone who uses a username on the dark web in either a forum or on a marketplace, then you can take that username and search the surface web for it, because not all criminals are sophisticated masterminds, and we're looking for them to slip up, and that's a really good place to catch them slipping up, because you might find another piece of information regarding that username. So again, it's What's My Name Web. Sorry, I always leave it. The address is what'smyname.app. And if you just search OSINT Combine, you can go to their free tools, and it's in there. So just Google OSINT Combine, and they have a heap of free tools. If you're interested in OSINT, then go and have a play on their website. They have bookmark stacks specifically for OSINT. It's a fantastic tool, and they're all free. So highly, highly recommend.
How good is that? Fantastic case. We'll be checking that one out all this week. And Michelle, when she's back from the pub tomorrow morning, around about 3 a.m, we'll be doing exactly the same. What a great start to the long weekend. You're not wasting it, Michelle. That's the important thing. Okay. Just briefly, that's the Facebook page, if you're new to this site, where our job vacancies are. Investigations UNI is our private student support program and continuous professional development program. That precedes this program each weekend. We will be back next week, but the 2 weeks after that, we won't be available. The murder trial going on where this man killed 2 campers in Victoria a couple of years back now. It's been going on all this week. And one of the evidence came from a Road Transport Authority camera that caught him coming back from the murder scene with his vehicle, that's him driving it, and the trailer he used to transport the bodies. A couple of years ago on this program, we talked about searching for trail cams that might have been in the area that people had lost. And the way you find a trail cam that's lost and still operational, if it's solar powered or if the batteries are still going, is you go out there with a UV camera and you just walk along the trails and you'll get a reflection from the actual red light in the trail cam. So that's how they find lost ones, and I've lost a lot of them and they're very expensive and I still haven't found them. I'm still looking. But that's interesting. That trial's going on down in Melbourne this week. And what he's saying, the murderer is saying, was self-defense. The gun actually went off accidentally twice, right? Shot 2 people accurately in the head, and they were coming at me, and they were really, scary 72 and 73-year-old lady and 72-year-old man were really frightening, and they scared him. There was a struggle, and one came at him with a knife, and I don't believe a word of it. So that's on down in Melbourne this week. It'll continue on next week. Don't forget, people, if you have a hobby or an interest, we are currently this year issuing some medals to recognise that with our mental health awards. Send me a video of your hobby, that sort of thing. If you haven't got yours yet, it's coming soon. I've got them all here. I've just got to get to the engraver and finalise that. Casey and I have got another thing we've got to go and attend to in 10 minutes' time. This is our 3rd and 4th live stream of the day. Enjoy your long weekend, people. Thank you for watching. We hope you got some value out of Agatha Christie's Mousetrap review. Thespians, they were, and out of our job vacancies and Casey's tip. We'll see you again next week. Thanks for watching.
See you next week. Have a great weekend.